Hi all, welcome to Andrea DSouza's kitchen. Today I'm going to prepare the much awaited Goan pork roast. Pork roast is something we enjoy plain or with a whole lot of fried potatoes, and even as a sandwich or with pulao or just in plain pav or in a chapati or a poi. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy it too, so I won't take much of your time and I'll quickly begin with the recipe. I'll take 1 kg of pork and I'm going to cut it into huge chunks. Now make sure you buy a good piece of pork where there's quite a lot of flesh. I don't like too much of fat in the pork that we buy. After washing it well, I'm going to take a fork and poke it in a few places, or you can also take a knife and make a few slits so that it soaks the marinade in well. I'm now going to add around 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of garlic and ginger paste. The ratio I use for garlic ginger is 60 to 40. I will also add around 1 teaspoon of Andrea's special garam masala powder. I've linked the recipe at the end. There are some people who prefer to use the Goan jeera mira powder or simply plain pepper and a little bit of jeera. The choice is up to you. I've also added around 1.5 tablespoon of Goa vinegar. You'll see the difference. The Goa vinegar is slightly browner and has got a stronger flavor than the other vinegar that we get. I'll then mix it all well and I'll keep it aside to marinate. Marinate it for a minimum 2 hours. The more you keep it, the better, so you can even keep it overnight in the fridge if that's what you'd like. And then you can remove it early morning and then you can keep it out for a while before it goes to cook. And oh, I forgot to put half a teaspoon of haldi powder. So please add the haldi powder also and mix it well and keep it aside. Now in my handi, I'm going to take 1 cooking spoon of oil. To that I'll add 1 inch of cinnamon, 2-3 cloves, 1 or 2 pepper, 1 or 2 cardamom, and I'm going to fry for a bit. And then I'm going to add 2 sprigs of kadipatta leaves which I've torn by hand. After that I'm going to add around 4 or 5 Kashmiri chillies again which are broken, and let it fry for a couple of minutes. Then add 2 or 3 slit green chillies and 2 large onions cut into strips. I'll fry all this well until the onion becomes tender and slightly brownish. You can fry the onions on a high flame and just make sure that it doesn't burn. I'll also add around 1/4 or maybe 1/3 of a teaspoon of sugar so that it gets this little brownish color. See, once it's becomes tender and little brown like this, I'll add my meat pieces and I'm going to fry my meat again for around 5 to 7 minutes on a high flame until the meat becomes a little bit brown. While you're putting your meat pieces, you will also find a little bit of water left back in your bowl. Do not discard the water, keep it, we will be using it later. Mix everything well and let it continue frying on a high flame. Just make sure it doesn't burn. Once it turns a little brown like this, like you can see in the video right now, add that remaining masala that you had left in your bowl and add 2 cups of water and mix it well again and let it come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to lower the flame completely and I'm going to cover it and let it cook by itself for an hour. Now there are some people who prefer using the pressure cooker if you want to have it done quickly, or maybe increasing the flame, but I prefer cooking on a low flame because more of the flavors are absorbed in that way. You can open it occasionally to check if it is okay and to stir it a bit and let it continue cooking. Even if you cook it for more than an hour, it is fine, because where pork is concerned, the more you cook it, the better. It is always safe that way. After around 1 hour 15 minutes or so, you can check if it is done. You can use a fork for that. And in case it is done, then you can leave the lid open and let the water dry a bit and let that gravy thicken. That will take you another 15 to 20 minutes. You can increase the flame slightly to medium, but do not increase it much, just enough that is needed to cook. Now, after the point of time, this is what it will look like, where the gravy will thicken to a great extent. Once the gravy thickens, I'm going to switch off the flame and let the meat rest a bit. After 15-20 minutes after it has rested, I'm going to start cutting it into slices. I'll keep the gravy in a separate bowl so that people can use as much gravy they want. And this is what our pork roast is going to look like once it is cut into slices. And as you all know, roast is best enjoyed with a whole lot of fried potatoes. So do not forget to fry those too. And I'm sure you're going to try out this recipe and let me know how it turns out. And you will definitely enjoy it. And don't forget to share my recipes with your loved ones who love to eat Goan food. And also do not forget to like my videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Andrea M. DSouza's Kitchen. Have a great day ahead.